Hey guys, welcome to my channel on Knife's Edge. Today we're going to do a review on the Ruixin Pro knife sharpener. We'll jump into the manual here. The manual is pretty easy to read, pretty well written. Here's just a diagram with all the different parts that we have. Here's all the different angles and the colors that are associated with them. And it also lists the angles for the different type of knife you're going to sharpen. Here's just a little bit about how to use it, like the proper angle to set when you're doing your initial bevel there. Just a little bit of the guide, how to use the arm, and here's just the theory behind keeping the same distance with the knife. So that's why you kind of have that, you kind of move it there and sway it out. Talking about the burrs, how to do it for a smaller knife. Now all this is very easy to read, and it's actually the whole system is pretty easy to use. It's almost like common sense, really. So that's that. And so here's the sharpener. Now I did a little bit of modification here because the base I could not get the suction to ever really stick. So I just took it off. I took the rubber off and I epoxied it to this piece of wood, and it's actually worked out pretty good. I just clamp it to the table. Now that water there is not for these stones. They're not water stones. You can use a honing oil or something like that on it. I also taped the cap here because I found the cap that came with it, the rubber one, would always come off. And it did come off, and that's why that is broken. But the pin's in there, so it still does the trick. So it's not really a big deal. And so I'll just going to show you a little bit about how you move the knife while you're sharpening. So the same thing as the manual showed. You're always trying to keep that same angle just to maintain the angle throughout the whole cutting edge, right? Some systems don't do that. Some systems have the clamp, and when you clamp it like that and you're sharpening along the edge does change. Maybe it doesn't change that much, but for this system without the clamp, that's just how you do it. And a little thing that I had against this is the little sway thing here. Well, you can't ever get it that tight, and it will move around. Now it doesn't move around that easy. And you shouldn't be really putting too much pressure on it anyway, so that's not too big of a deal. So a little clamp set up, and a little demonstration of the way that they describe to you to use the arm there. Now another thing is you always have to tape your knife, because especially if you're using a better knife, like a high quality expensive knife, you're going to want to protect your knife, right? And here I'm just showing how easy it is to put these stones on. The system's pretty easy. Like I said, putting these stones on can take like 5 seconds. I'm taking a little longer here. I'm not sure why. The stones are of right quality. I know the Edge Pro stones can actually fit in this machine, and I would recommend that if you're going to sharpen multiple knives. So this is the 1500, and it is pretty much the lowest quality stone. You could basically cut right into it. So, and I find they also should include one that goes in between the 600 and the 1500, because I find it's too big of a jump. And you know, when you go to the 1500, you gotta start and you gotta grind away for quite a long time before you get all those scratches out. Now this doesn't really get quite a mirror polish, but it does do a pretty good job. I will give you an example at the end of a knife that I did sharpen using this system, so you'll get to see that. And we'll take a closer look at the 1500 here, where you can actually see some nicks in it. Now these nicks were caused by just a knife just cutting in basically like butter into them. So this is probably the least quality stone of the bunch, and like I said, they're not the greatest quality, But they do the trick. I've sharpened quite a few knives on them. They're not too worn out or nothing, so they're pretty good. So the pros of this machine would be the price. It's easy to use. You can set it up really quickly, and also puts a pretty decent edge on a knife. That is its job, so it does that pretty well for the price again. The cons would be no clamping system. The suction isn't very good. The stones, though they're okay, they are not the best for sure. The stopper comes off easily off the guide, and those are the main complaints, I would say. Overall, I am happy with this, and if I wanted an upgrade, I probably would just grab the Edge Pro stones and use those. So I will start here and show you a little example of how sharp a knife can get with this machine. And as you can see here, it's pretty good. Now this is a piece of paper, so it's not like a newspaper or a catalog paper, so it is easier to slice through, and it does get bunged up a few times there, but that's all right. But it is pretty smooth, I have to say. So absolutely, that is definitely a sharp knife. I put it on the strobe too, a leather strobe, right after, so that does help a little bit. And I will show you it cutting the hair on my leg. As you can see, the knife is pretty much razor sharp from the sharpener. So I'm pretty impressed and happy with the results, definitely for the price as well. But I'll leave it at that. Hopefully you learned something from this review. I'm planning on making quite a bit more videos, hopefully with some better quality, not voiced over like this one is. I had a lot of background noise, so that's why I did the voiceover. So subscribe, comment below, and I got a link for the sharpener in the description. Thanks a lot.